Good morning. Good morning. What an honor it is to be here today. So I'll just tell you a little bit about my story. But during the summer of July 2013, on a very hot and humid day in my little country town of Blacksburg, Virginia, my family and I were tasked with a very heart-wrenching responsibility of cleaning out my father's desk. My father had recently passed away, and there was something that we were kind of dreading to do. But that dread turned into something that was so glorious and so joyous. I always knew my dad was a pretty cool guy, and to me, he still is a pretty cool guy. But this cleansing that we were doing brought forth something that really made me see the kind of leader that my father was in his work, but also the kind of leader that he created within us. There's a quote that I found that he had scribbled on the long legal yellow pad that was really popular back in the 80s, 90s, and he had it tucked away in there. And it was this quote from President Reagan that said, "The greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He is the one who gets the people to do the greatest things." This stood out to me because that's exactly how my father lived his life. That's exactly how I am charged to live out my life, is that it's not about me and it's not about the leadership that I have. It's about how I can get my students to do the greatest and to be the greatest. Because being a leader is a difficult role, but when you are doing it with efficacy and when you're doing it with faith, it is one in which the people who are surrounded by you, they will produce work that goes above and beyond. And because of that, that leads to my why and to my purpose. So this is a picture of my mom and my dad. For as long as I can remember, my father read to me. I would get on his lap, he would get the newspaper, and he would read the newspaper to me. I acted like I knew exactly what he was talking about. I knew. I would shake my head, and so he would introduce the words to me, the vocabulary, and tell me what's going on in the world. And I loved it. My mom, and I will say it as many times as I can, God bless her for teaching elementary for over 32 years. That is something in which, if you are an elementary school teacher or in the profession, hats off to you because you work extremely hard. Never in a million years have I ever imagined, and I was telling someone this morning, in which you are in a classroom with 24 or plus kids every day, the entire day for 180 days. So God bless you, because I love my high school students in which I see them for 90 minutes for a semester, and then I get new babies at the end of the semester. When it comes to this and discovering my purpose and the reason why I'm doing this and why I love being a teacher in CMS, it makes me still go back to something that I teach within my classroom that comes from President Reagan. I love teaching about President Reagan and his speeches. And in his final farewell address that he gave to the American society, our community, he gave this charge. He said, if you want to see a change in America, that change must start at the dinner table. That is pretty powerful, because when you think about it today, very few students, if you talk to them, actually sit down and have a conversation with their parents at the dinner table. Little did President Reagan know about what life would be like today in 2019. In my household, we still have dinner like clockwork at 5:30 p.m. every day with my family. My kids have to put up their cell phones, they have to put it away. Why? Because that time matters. Their voice matters. Family matters. And that is the reason why one of the reasons why we are in this profession is because we want to make sure our students matter and their voice does matter. One of the things that became really clear to me when we were cleaning out the desk that hot summer in Blacksburg is that my parents had organically instilled this belief in my sister, my brother, and myself, and that we grew up knowing our parents as mom and dad, But now as an adult, I can now say that mom and dad, they were my leaders. They were my teachers. They molded us into becoming who we are today. At the beginning of every school year, my parents had us do two things. One is we had to create the wonderful school supply list. The second was that we had to write them a letter. And so you're trying to tell students, kids, you mean you want me to do work during the summer that I don't have to do? But yes, they made us do work. We had to write them a letter in which we had to set our goals. We had to tell them what is it that you want to achieve this school year and how you were going to go about achieving it. They started that from the moment I could write. And granted, when, from little in elementary school, it was little mediocre sentences and fragments. But my mom came across, when she brought it down to me in May, when she came down for my this celebration, and she handed me the letter that she found in my Young Life Bible. And in that Bible was my letter that I wrote to them in 8th grade. Now, I had, yes, the typical teen frivolous goals of, I hope Paul Kohler asked me on a date. And, of course, the social life and the clothes. But it was goal number 4 and goal number 5 that stood out to me, that made me laugh to say, I'm living that today. So I'm going to read you exactly how I wrote goal number 4. All right, so of course, I was not, I am one of many words. I do like to talk, but when you're asking me to write as a child, I got right to the point. So goal number 4 is this, verbatim, to become a nurse. That was it. So here's the thing. I'm not a nurse, and I don't play one on TV, but the thing is, on the weekends, I have the best opportunity where I'm working at Levine's Children's Hospital, and I am what you call, quote unquote, a cuddler. So I go into the NIC unit, and I'm able to hold those babies, and I'm able to give them the warmth and support and the love that they are so in need of, that nurturing that they need so that they can survive and just flourish and leave. Isn't that like teaching? It is. And I'm able to sing to them in my Beyonce-like voice, right? And I sing them to sleep. But according to my husband, he said they're going to sleep because they don't want to hear me. Well, that's okay. But I'm there and I'm singing to them, and I'm able to read to them and instill those early key pieces of literacy so they can hear the cadence of rhymes. They hear the inflection of my voice so that they know that somebody out there does care and loves them and wants them to get better. Which takes me into goal number 5, and I read it verbatim. I want to become a teacher if I cannot be a nurse, right? So I say this, I didn't choose teaching, teaching chose me. Because I knew somewhere within my heart I had this passion for others. So whether it is I'm in the hospital or in the classroom, and there's teaching going on. So I lived in a household in which goals number 4 and 5 were fostered. My father was not a nurse. He was the only one in our family who was not in education. My mother, my brother, my sister, his wife, and my husband were all proud educators. My dad, he was Department of Defense, so he had another level. But he always read to me, and he always told me this: you must always read, and you must always hold a book in your hand. Because with that book in your hand, there's a power that no one can take from you. That's exactly what I try to do and instill in my kids, because I want them to hold that power within their hands. One of the greatest things that we as educators can do or can hear are the simple things, but mean so much to us. It means a lot to us, is hearing thank you, or because of you, I was able to, or because of you, I am. Every single one of us have probably heard those. And so a question was asked to me the other day as, why would you stay in teaching when there are times in which your heart gets trampled on? My answer is simple. It's because of the thank yous. It's because of the hugs. It's because of the phrases of, because of you, I did this. That's what makes it worth doing every single day. I say this to a room that is filled with phenomenal leaders and people that I've seen and interact with over the 20 years of my life that I can say I am blessed and thankful to know. But I say this because in this room we are the stakeholders to hold the idea of leading tomorrow. There are so many other districts that seek us because somehow, some way, CMS knows what to do to reach all students. We know what to do to make it right for our teachers, and we are very innovative. Our students may not understand the goals and the expectations that we are trying to instill within them now, but they will. They may not like the rules and expectations that we are implementing within the schools, but they will. Students may not say they appreciate the countless number of hours that you spend within the buildings to make sure that it runs smoothly each and every single day, but they do. But the main thing is, we can never give up on our students. We can never give up on their idea of who or what they aspire to become. Be the beacon of hope, the beacon of their security, the way the Statue of Liberty tends to be the beacon of hope for those coming to America. My parents challenged us. They motivated us and they inspired us because they wanted to hear our voice. More importantly, they were our Statue of Liberty because they created an illuminated pathway for us to take in order to obtain our dreams. Oftentimes, our students do not have that beacon of hope at the home. So you are their beacon of hope. You are what represents their dreams. You are the one that's opening that door for them to say, I believe in you. Our students are hungry for a leader to illuminate their pathway. And when I think about our students and their dreams, I see a future in which we have had a hand in creating artists, political analysts, cardiologists, veterinarians, game developers, teachers, immigration lawyers, scientists, and world travelers. We are all a part of this great society, and as cliche as it is, by building our teachers, we build our students, and we are building a better tomorrow. I end with you with this quote from George Washington Carver that says, "Education is the key to unlock the golden door of freedom." When I think about this quote, it makes me think of that wonderful movie that I grew up on. Do I remember Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? What was it that they were so excited to find? The golden ticket. So if kids can be excited to receive this golden ticket that is engulfed in this sweet chocolate so that we can go into this great factory and do these things and possibly win this factory and win all the chocolate, isn't that just like education? Shouldn't we somehow encompass that great golden ticket so that that education becomes that golden door? And if you know the poem written by Emma Lazarus, it's called The New Colossus. It's the poem that sits at the base of the Statue of Liberty. And the last line of that poem says, "I lift my lamp beside the golden door." We are that golden door for our students, and we've got to do that. What are we going to do to guide our students to light their pathway by this golden door? We need our students, but we need the best of our students, and it starts right here, because without them, there is no us. Thank you.